This is a call to all women entrepreneurs. Women in Business Community Network is a one-stop shop for female entrepreneurs in Kenya. Our goal is to empower communities and eradicate poverty. With a membership of 1.2 million members across the country, we engage and aspire to achieve issues around challenges on women enterprises. We thrive on 5 pillars: mentorship and capacity building, financial literacy and investment, market linkages and partnerships, networking, referrals and events, policy and advocacy. For more details, visit us on www.wibkenya.org or simply call us on 0751 900 900. Women in Business Network, empowering communities, eradicate poverty.
Welcome to Breaking Limitations Show with our host, Joyce Marendes. We are here to empower, equip, and promote. Let us discover your superpower.
Hi, welcome to the Breaking Limitations Show. My name is Joyce Marendes. I am your host here on today. I am excited to have a special guest with us from California. Her name is Denise Gomez. Denise, it's so good to have you here today. I know I've been looking forward to scheduling this interview, and so I'm so glad that we got an opportunity to have you here today. So guys, I'll just tell you a little bit about Denise, and then I'll let her come back and, continue with that. Denise Gomez is a mentor. She's a consultant, motivational speaker, and a coach. She works with women and youth in building confidence and strategy to create positive change in their lives. Denise is relentlessly driven to help women and youth overcome their fears and step into the life of their dreams. Her passion is to lead people out of limited mindsets and fearlessly embrace the change they have been longing for. Denise is the founder of Project 58, Make the Community Livable Again. She's the founder of Aspire Leadership Coaching and producer and host of the Dare to Believe conference series. So Denise, welcome to the Breaking Limitations Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored. So honored.
Yes.
I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's so awesome to have you here and to be able to share with the audience some of the great things that you are doing in California, and just to hear your story on how you've been able to break limitations, because I know our stories are almost similar. On how we've on different things we've gone through in our journey. So if you could just go ahead and just share with our viewers just a little bit about yourself, who Denise is. I know we've read your bio, but just a little bit about who Denise is, and then we can go from there with some of the with the questions.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just somebody who had to go on my own journey in order to do what I do today. And I believe that's what we all are on, that the world needs to know our own personal stories, because when we finally tap into purpose and confidence and break limitations, as you say, it opens the door for those coming behind us, those who need to receive the specific gift God has given each one of us. It may look the same. You and I may look the same. We have the same story, but you will touch a different audience than I will. And that's what's so important about us daring to believe in ourselves, daring to just go for what makes you scared. And it took me far longer than it should take anybody. And then that's why I feel relentless in grabbing hold of today's youth, today's young adults and women and men my age, that need to break off the bondage of just that mindset that keeps you trapped, held captive, keeps you in that box. I encourage everybody to dare to think outside the box about yourself, be motivated to understand what is my purpose. And most often our purpose is the one where we don't feel like we're carrying the weight of the world on us, because it's our purpose, right? And so I work with people and just guiding them to be the best version of themselves, no matter what environment they are in, work, community, home, self. It's my passion.
Wow, that's really, really good. And could you just share with us a little bit about your life, like your childhood? How did you grow up in order to now feel the need to actually walk passionately about helping people develop different mindsets and walk away from fear and starting to believe in themselves?
Yes. So early on, I was lacking confidence as far back as I can remember. My mother battled mental illness, and my father was an alcoholic functional. And my mother was from Japan, here in the US, had a very thick accent. So when she would be mentally off, most people couldn't understand it. So you thought I was living a perfect life. We were not financially strapped. We were always doing well respected within the community. You just didn't know what was happening at my house. And when you have secrets, when you have a facade you're carrying, and from a young child, that tells me I am broken. I am broken. We have to hide this. So from a very young age, I didn't have confidence in myself. I had confidence in I had to turn into somebody when I went outside. I had to put on this facade. And that really messes with your confidence. And then my mother, she didn't mean to do this, but she had a habit of saying stupid. And she would do it in a funny way. Oh, you're so stupid. Or when she was angry, you're so stupid. And those lodged inside of me for most of my life. That was the voice. When I talk about silencing that inner critic, I'm talking about the one that really is yourself, that was planted, rooted, and growing inside yourself. The enemy didn't have to send anybody to me. I was doing it to myself because of the upbringing I was in. And so by the time I was a young adult, there were so many things, the chaos that I lived in. And the beauty of it for me is, although it took me a long journey to get there, that once I got hold of, or God got hold of me, and the clarity and learning how to shift my mindset and break it off by declaring over myself, by reversing the negatives when I would speak them. I mean, there's so much that is just in our reach. Just somebody has to show us how to do it. And that's what happened to me. Is it took me a long journey. There were suicide attempts when I was a teenager, because the depression comes on you so badly when you're living a counterfeit life. I wasn't moving in my purpose because I didn't think I was good enough for my purpose. I always had a longing to help people, but I didn't think I was good enough to help people, because people have to be perfect to help people. No, God will use your brokenness,
yes,
to pull the others up around you, right? And so, so that was mine. I grew up in a household where there was lies because we were putting on a facade. There was mental illness, there was depression, there was alcoholism. And when you're a child, this is what I try and really stress to parents. Your child takes that on as it's theirs. I thought I was damaged goods. And I grew up and I behaved in such a manner. I hung out at the level of my self-esteem. I aligned at it, which was not high at all. So I was around trouble. I was in environments that were not healthy. And sometimes I get reminded, it's a miracle I'm alive today, given where I put myself because of that lack of self-esteem. And so the first thing I work with people on is finding the root of what has been holding them back in that box, because a lot of us don't know, it surfaces as we dig.
And that is so true, because a lot of our behaviors started from childhood, or things that we believe about ourselves started from childhood. And so sometimes when our parents didn't know that what they were saying to us is actually damaging us on the inside, because that's how they were parented. So they didn't know any better. And so I really, my heart goes out to parents, and as a parent too, I try to learn so that I don't parent my kids the way I was parented. There's nothing wrong with the way I was parented, but I just want better for them. And so I realized also that for me to do better, I have to learn from someone who knows better. because I can't dig from deep within to say that I'll dig from my knowledge, because I don't really have that knowledge, because I didn't get that foundation. And so I try to tell parents it's really important that if you don't have that knowledge and you realize that you just don't know how to maybe parent or how to say something, even how you speak to your children, just be teachable, start learning. Be willing to learn, and then also to find out what's the root cause. What caused you to behave the way you do? What caused you to walk in fear? What caused you to feel like you're damaged goods? All those things are important, because all those things they're the ones that stop us from pursuing purpose. And God,
That's right.
yeah, it's true. And one thing someone had talked earlier was about even because we are spirit beings, and for God to be able to communicate to our spirit, He has to go through our soul, and our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. So if our mind is messed up, that means when it gets the message from the spirit, it gets distorted. So we can hear the word of God and it will not be effective in our lives, because once it passes through our mind, it gets distorted and we can never see the manifestation of it. So our mind is really important. It's so important to watch what we are thinking. We are so used to just thinking and believing that, oh, those are just my thoughts, but the enemy plants little seeds, and then you go and water them with your experiences. You say, you know what, I'm not even good enough because this happened and this happened, I did this, and then now you start to grow that seed. And that's how he gets us, so that we end up building all these strongholds in our minds. So I really love what you're doing, and especially trying to capture even the younger generation, because I know it's not easy dealing with the younger generation. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I know there's a lot of differences in how they do things, how they, just even with my kids, just technology and everything. How do you manage to reach that group?
So right now I'm working with high school age, and what I found is they're very open when you meet them where they're at. I don't try and put my ways on them. I hear them, and then I could relate because I was a teenager. And so what I found is God has just organically brought that to me, and he brought youth that are living the life I had, right? I see the confidence. I see, that we were confident. I see the lack of confidence keeps you from pulling your ideas out and putting strategy to them and bringing them to life. And so that is my goal with them, because nobody did that with me. I sat on dreams for so long. God showed me speaking in front of groups of people in my mind, and I thought it was vanity. Back when I was 18, I thought,
Wow.
what is that? What, do I want attention? And again, that was that inner critic, right? You're not good enough for that. I'm a fraud. I can't do that, right? Like, I'm broken. And I remember being young, the only thing I ever heard about God was that he was a condemning God. And so if I'm bad, I can't be around God, which is the complete lie, right? And so I work with the students in, or the youth in building self-esteem and knowing that if you've got an idea, no matter how big or how small you think it is, let's talk it out. And I spend a lot of time talking about their dreams, because I wish somebody would have got me at 18 and ignited and showed me how to take a dream and walk it out, because there's those dreams that are impossible, right? That really aren't for me. You know, like, I could dream about going to space. No, I'm not going to space, right? Yeah, I just know there's limitations on that. But there's those ones where there's been evidence my whole life that I should be doing. And that's really where I think our purpose, when you don't know, a lot of people don't know. When you look back at your life, your purpose was manifesting all along, right? And I put it to, like, how I do this with the youth and do it with the adults, about the confidence and finding identity and purpose. I was dealing with, it was manifesting in me when I was in grade school. I remember being the mediator between arguments on the playground, you know, and like, they really listened to me. I remember the first time I realized they're listening to me, right? And so if you look back, there'll be evidence of, you know, your gifting and what was drawn to you, what was attracted to you, what did you find yourself consistently doing, even on a small scale. I bet you that's where we could find your true purpose, the one that doesn't make you feel like you're pushing against the grain. And that's why it's so important for me that I never thought I'd be working with young people. I never thought, if you would have asked me, but this just came about, and the Lord brought it to me, and I was like, okay. And as I'm doing it, I'm like, Lord, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part, watching them shift and seeing the change within them is really, like, more than gratifying. It's like, wow, Lord, you're doing something, and I see it. And I feel like with young people, there is a level of it that goes a little faster, you know, because part of the thing of working in confidence is I really do work with you to identify the roots that are so deep that we don't even know about them until we start talking and we start going in deep. And then we'll think we're on something, but something else will come, and I'll be like, oh, that's the root, and we have to go. And the way I explain it is, like, when I garden, and I'm not a gardener, I did it through shelter in place because I was bored. But so I never knew this, but I was trying to dig out roots, and I would go down and think I got it, and I'd pull it up, and only part of it would be there. The main root would be down there. And if I stopped there, I wouldn't have known that there was more root. I believe that in life, we think we uproot things because we feel better, but the main core of that root is still there, and it'll grow more. And so I believe for us to truly get to our next level right now, because I think this last several years, everybody's been working on purpose and identity, and so heads down in that, but everybody forgot about, wait, we got to weed out those roots, because you could find it, you could like it for a week, and then go right back into your habits.
So Denise, just the way we were discussing about how you reach out to the youth, could you also talk about your the Aspire coaching program? What exactly do you guys do in Aspire?
So Aspire coaching, I have something as a leg of it I call Aspire Club, and I'm working with individuals on developing not only confidence. Aspire Club is more of the adults, and so confidence, communication, getting stronger in communication, whether you want to do presentations or you just want to be more effective in who you engage with in conversation, whether it's your children, your workplace, interviews, and all of it that I work on, the root that I get to just at a surface level is the emotional awareness. I help folks understand, start to look for the patterns. How is emotion arising in this conversation? How is my emotion arising when I'm in that situation? And what is it doing to how I react? Because when we understand our own internal emotional, whether it be triggers or just how we react in certain situations, we could then grab hold and control our reactions and how we present in that moment, right? And then not only is it great for that, but then you learn how to understand who you're engaged with. And whether it's an audience of one person or a room full of folks, then you start to understand, okay, what are they needing? Because I may want my audience to hear something, but they may not want it, so it will not land. There's that emotional intelligence that we teach in corporate world that I pull into the personal world. We have to know that whether I'm walking into an interview or I'm talking to my family, I have to talk to my children a certain way, or I see that they will stop receiving, right? And so I have to adjust it, just like in my coaching. When I'm with the young people, the youth, I have to speak a different way. If I sat there and spoke to them like I'm sitting at a conference table in corporate, they'd never come back, right?
Yes.
So that's emotional awareness, right?
Yes.
Sometimes in interactions with my children, they'll trigger me, right? My husband and my children, I trigger that, right? Because we're so close, there's behaviors we have. We know that it will be a trigger. And emotional awareness allows me to say, ooh, take a breath, or this will become an argument, right? Take a breath, gather myself. And it may sound simple, but I'd say most people, we struggle with it, right? First of all, we're not teaching it. Young people are not learning that in school. Young adults are going out into the corporate world and they're not being taught that unless they're being promoted to leadership, because that's what you teach to leadership, because they're going to manage people. I believe we should be learning this as a youth. We teach them about personal space. You're not allowed in my personal space. Let's teach them about emotional awareness. And so, yeah, that is what I'm doing with the Aspire Club, and that is a 90-day program that I say every 90 days we reevaluate, we set the goals of what we're headed towards, and that within a year, I believe, because I'm working with people to change their lives. So that means we're changing what to the life point where you're saying, I need to change my life. That could be quite a bit. With the youth, it's less layers. As you age, there's more layers that we have to work our way through. And so Aspire Club really wasn't something, I thought out Aspire Club. What happened is I started having clients and I was like, I'm working on the same things, right? And so that's where Aspire Club was birthed, was, okay, everybody is kind of like-minded that I'm working with. We're going through the same steps, and not that I have a curriculum, I customize everything for the individual. I meet with you, I'm talking, identifying, seeing, because it's easier for us to sit outside, hear you, and then see than it is for us to do that to ourselves, right? Yes. And then from there, I can design the strategy and plans that we are going to take the steps in order to get to a place, because it's steps and it's a process. It's not a one and done, or here's the recipe, here's a PDF file, no, go do it, because no, everybody intends to, but we can't. We all need accountability, and we all need. And so what I like about coaching is, the coach isn't out on the football field with the players. The coach is on the side saying, hey, move this, move that, right? Come back in and say, okay, next time try this play. Let's redo this, because the coach has the game plans, right? And so that's how I view what I do with my clients. And I love it. It comes naturally to me, and that's how I know it's my purpose. And I just pray that everybody learn what their purpose is. Like, now that I have it, I never want to let it go.
Yes, isn't that so powerful that you can live life just, day in, day out, not really knowing what your purpose is, but once you grasp it, then you realize that this is so powerful. This is the missing link. And then you start to pursue it and you don't want to let it go. And you want everybody to also learn, discover their own purpose also, so they can feel the same freedom that you feel. And I like what you also talked about, emotional intelligence, and we need it in every area, because I know a lot of times in corporate world they'll teach it to leaders, but they don't teach it to everybody. And that's something that's needed in every level, even in schools, even from young age, just teaching our kids how to manage their emotions, because that's to be aware, this is how I feel, this, and to be able to articulate what they feel. Because sometimes they just feel like I'm angry, but you don't really know. You're not really angry, it's something else, but you don't have the words for it. And so just teaching emotional intelligence is really, really important. So I'm excited to hear what you're doing and the lives that you're reaching out to. And I know that this is really something that you discovered your purpose later in life. And so what would you tell someone who feels like maybe, oh, I'm too old to start pursuing my purpose, I should have done this when I was younger? What would you tell them?
Oh, it's never too late. And the longer you sit on it, there's people in this world who are waiting. There are people who were waiting for Denise Gomez to move in it, because they don't receive from me in the way I speak. We have something different, same giftings. We could all have the same giftings, but they manifest and they flow from us differently, that connect with a different audience. And the longer you hold on to it, you're depriving the people waiting for it. And you may not think that you're that valuable, but you are, because our God didn't make a mistake, right? And you may even look at yourself and say, but I'm good at what I'm doing, because I was excellent at my corporate job. I'm excellent at my corporate job. What started to happen is I started to realize I'm good at it, but I'm not fulfilled anymore. There was a time where I enjoyed it and I loved it, but as I started to age, I'm just not fulfilled. And you know why? Because I wasn't releasing my purpose. And so that started to stir in me into a point where I wasn't understanding what. There are days when I still have that, okay, I'm supposed to be doing something. You could feel it like birthing in you, percolating, incubating, whatever it is. And I know there are people out there that's landing with right now, because they go to work and they're doing a good job at their job, but they know there's that something more, but they just don't understand it. That is my gift. That is where I could help you, and we could pull it out and identify that's, and it'll land with you and go, whoa, yes, like I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize I love to write. I should be writing books. I just thought I should write poems, or you write poems, but then we go through and we start to realize you should be writing plays, like there's just things, right?
Growing and growing, and you discover like, wow, I didn't know I had this in me. Oh, I could also try this and try this. And that's exactly, we have treasures hidden in earthen vessels. That's what the Bible says. We have treasure, and God, when God created us, He gave us everything we need in life to be able to accomplish the assignment that He put here for us. And sometimes it's just that when we experience life and we go through different things, it makes us minimize who we are, and we start to think that this is all I can ever be. Maybe being at your corporate job could have been that you thought that was all you could ever be, and yet God had so much more in store for you. And we have a lot of people, even when they do surveys, they say like almost 75% of the people in America hate their jobs. They just go because it's there to fulfill, maybe to pay the bills, but they hate what they do. Can you imagine if all of us were living our purpose, we are living lives that are fulfilled? Can you imagine how effective we would be on the earth? And people would actually be happier, people would be better, they wouldn't fight so much with each other and all that. And so This is really, really powerful. So could you let people know also about how they can be able to reach you, if it's on social media or website? What are some of the places that people can be able to reach you at?
So my website is available. I'm revamping it, but you could still get on there and reach out to me. It's DeniseDGomez.com. So my name with my middle initial, DeniseDGomez.com. And there's more information about me, about my Aspire Club, and some testimonials, and also links to schedule an intro session. I'm on Instagram as dare to be you, the letter U, _ 24/7. And then I'm on Facebook as Denise Kraling Gomez. And I understand that's a lot to spell out for everybody, but it's my maiden name. But you will publish it, or do I need?
Yeah, we're gonna have it. Yeah, it's gonna be there it's gonna be on the screen. So yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because my maiden name, I know most people wouldn't know how to spell it, but Denise Kraling Gomez. I'm on Facebook. I really encourage folks to connect with me on both Instagram and Facebook, because that's where I publish much of like events that I'm hosting, the Dare to Believe in You's, workshops that are online that I'm hosting. And so I love social media for being in connection with people around the world.
Yes, yes. And that's even how we got to connect on social media. Yes. And I get to see all the amazing things that you do, and all the guest speakers also that you bring, and the teachings and everything. So guys, make sure you're following Denise on all her social media platforms, especially her Facebook and her Instagram. Make sure you're following her so that you can get to see some of the things she's doing, and also reach out to her if you want to join the Aspire Club, or to get information on how even to have your youth maybe join some of the trainings that she does, because this information that she's giving is really important in this day and time that we are in, where people are really confused. People are just not living their potential. So Denise, thank you so much for coming to the Breaking Limitations show. It was so good to have you. And I know that you have so many things going on. You guys are 2 hours behind, so I don't know if you've even had breakfast. No. But thank you so much for coming to the Breaking Limitations show, and it was great having you.
What limitation are you holding on to? The Breaking Limitations Mindset Journal has 63 daily quotes and scriptures that will help you break every limitation in your life. Get your copy today. Represent your commitment to breaking limitations by visiting breakinglimitationsnow.com to purchase your Breaking Limitations t-shirt, tank top, or hoodie today.